This is the History of Portugal podcast, an Eat to My Own Beat podcast. New episodes every Friday. Check us out on our Facebook page, the History of Portugal podcast, on YouTube, as well as my website, www.eattomyownbeat.com.
Welcome back to episode 131 of the History of Portugal podcast. The first progress south of the Tagus, 1147 to 1189. Almada on the southern bank of the Tagus was taken during the siege of Lisbon, while Palmela was abandoned by its garrison once Lisbon fell. Obadios was scaled during the night and forcibly taken by a group of men led by Gonçalo Mendes de Mia on 11th of January 1148. In 1151, Ibn Kasi revolted against the Almohads and Silves and sought protection of the Portuguese king Alfonso. When this pact became public, he was murdered and decapitated by a group of dissenters. Alfonso Henriques tried to personally take Alcácer de Sol by surprise in 1151 at the head of the party of men, like he had done at the Santorum. However, the Portuguese were detected and the king wounded, hence the return to Lisbon. After 3 years of peace, Alcácer del Salo was attacked by Alfonso Henriques. However, the Muslim stronghold resisted. A third attack was made against Alcedar in 1157, with the support of the Crusader fleet commanded by the Count of Flanders, Thierry of Alsace. However, the Christians were rebuffed once more. In April 1158, Alcácer was taken at the end of 60-day siege. Beja was taken by militiamen in Santarém in December 1159, but was abandoned on April of the following year. A pitched battle took place in Agento between the Almohads and the Portuguese, who were routed. Beja was attacked and plundered once more by the Portuguese in late November 1162. In 1165, Sesimbra was taken by force, and Palmela, which had once since had been reoccupied by the Muslims, surrendered to Alfonso Henriques. In November 30th of the same year, King Alfonso donated the castle of Monsanto to the Templars. Still in 1165, Geraldo the Fearless took Trujillo and Evora, both in the middle of the night, and they offered the latter city to Alfonso Henriques, apparently in exchange for a large sum of money, and the king then made him alcalde. The following year, Geraldo took Cerces and Montechez, Alchano, Serpa, and Juramenha, the last of which became Geraldo's base for attacks against the major city of Baljados. In 1166, still the warrior monks of recently created Catholic military order settled in Evora. However, by the order of the Pope, they were then integrated to the Order of Caldevra. In 1167, Gonçalo Mendes de Mia captured the castle of Nudar.
Thank you for listening to the History of Portugal podcast, a Eat to My Own Beat podcast. New episodes every Friday. Get more information on the History of Portugal podcast on Facebook, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Check out www.eattomyownbeat.com for more information on our travels.